Okay, let's do it.
Hey! Hi, everybody!
Hello, hello. Guess where we are?
We cannot be too loud because we're in a very secretive space in the UNFCCC venue. Well, not secretive, it's just very exposed.
Exclusive.
Everybody's running. Today is the last day of the negotiations before tomorrow is the big plenary where all of the documents need to be agreed. And so we are in the middle of the discussions, and many things are happening. The usual topics: the finance goal, the adaptation goal. We also had some meetings on the loss and damage fund and its governance body, and then of course, technology met here as well. We had good news on agriculture, etc. So the indigenous peoples and local communities platforms also met. So many things. But then, yes, how are you, Tete?
Ah. Well, I'm still energetic because I've only been here a few days. Unlike before where I here for the whole 2 weeks. For this time, I've just been here for 5 days.
So jealous.
But I think it's quite important, really. No, this
Yeah.
SB meeting is super important because a lot of things are at stake. And in a couple of months, we'll already be at COP29. Can you imagine?
Unbelievable.
It's already the 29th COP.
Yeah.
And it's happening in a country that does not yet have a very good track record about most things,
Yeah.
including climate action, including human rights.
Such as in the past COPs, like in the
Mm,
UK and stuff. So it seems like it's becoming the norm.
it's becoming a tradition, no? That
Yeah.
the COP happens in places where civil society and social movements and ordinary people have
Mm.
very little space to be
Yeah.
articulate about their criticisms, no?
Mm. Yeah. And also, well, not just to make you feel like you're here with us. There
It's
is,
like we're whispering.
yeah, but there also was an outbreak of COVID.
Mm.
So people is getting sick in the delegations and also within civil society, and also we have a solidarity camp with Palestine in Bonn by the young scholars here in the university. So there has been a lot of solidarity between the activists for coming to the SBs and also the pro-Palestine action. But there's also a COVID outbreak there. So yeah, it's kind of hostile, it's not an easy place to be here right now with all of the tensions, the political tensions, the geopolitical dynamics, and plus we need to be also wearing our masks
Yeah, we have our
everywhere we
masks
go.
because I heard that some negotiators even are
Yeah.
down with COVID, no?
Yeah.
Yesterday I was speaking with one civil society friend and I was wearing a mask.
Mm.
So she asked me, "Are you sick, Tetet?"
Yeah,
I said, "No,
I
I'm
don't want
wearing
to.
a mask because I don't want to get
Exactly.
sick."
Yeah, I get that a lot. And people is telling me like, "Oh, you're sick," and it's like, I don't want to get sick. That's why I'm wearing my mask. Yeah, but
Yeah, we were talking about this new variant, no?
yeah,
It's called flirt. What a way. It's so
it's a new variant of COVID with very sharp symptoms, very quick, and it seems like the vaccines are not up to date to this new variant. So yeah, you heard it here first.
so we're bracing ourselves for our, you know, yet more cases of
Yeah.
new variants. I've had COVID 3 times
Oh
already. Yeah.
no.
So I don't know how my whole system will
No, yeah.
adapt, if I will adapt, if I ever fall sick again.
No, and also, of course, we have people that lives with lots of vulnerable conditions at home and in our surrounding community. So what
Mm.
we need is to be responsible, take care of ourselves, but also take care of others. So it's the minimum responsibility we have is to try to mask and use the sanitizing And Tete and I are always carrying ours. And we're spraying each other. It seems like we're the only ones, but anyway.
Yeah, you can. And I'm also very allergic whenever I hear people sneeze or
Yes,
cough. It's like disgusting. At the least you
yeah.
can do is cover up and
Cover. Or people want to shake hands with you, and I literally said, "I'm sorry, I'm super paranoid. I don't want to get COVID. I'm not gonna touch your hand." Yeah, it seems like it should be common sense now with all of the
mm.
dead people that we have. But anyway,
But I think mostly people have let their guards down.
so
It's like we're back to pre-COVID days,
yeah, it's
no?
true.
People are not really sensitive that these are different times,
Mm.
and people are freely hugging and
Yeah,
kissing each other. So it's like, if I don't really know you, maybe we should keep some distance,
yeah,
something
and
like that.
especially also because the global south again didn't have access to full vaccines and all of the systems, so it's again the vulnerability coming back to our country. So I don't know, we are very mindful of that, and wish us luck. Tomorrow is the final day. We're still healthy and strong, so we want to remain like that.
Mm.
So, but this is just in the context of what it's like to be here, right? That Despise Girls are always trying to help you navigate with us all of this space, like what is the real life for us here, and as if you were here with us. Well, that's it's not a very nice moment.
Yeah, and I thought this was also a nice moment because it's spring, summer, but it's very cold, dark, and raining here. So some people are not even prepared.
Yeah.
They did not bring heavier clothes and jackets. So everyone is just freezing.
Yeah, and also to be honest, there has been a lot of security issues. Some activists making a bigger connections with the different political context that we're having and the UN, rather than being in solidarity, or at least understand the right to free expression. There has been many tensions here, so we will let you know more about that in our next episode of the Despise Girl. But just to say that civil society has encountered many challenges here. Maybe you've all seen also in Twitter that there has been many tensions, but we will tell you more about that once we're out of here.
Yeah, but what I do appreciate is, despite those tensions, despite those restrictions, we still manage to find ways
Yeah.
in order to demonstrate our solidarity, um, express our disgust over what's happening. Because every day there is an action in
Every day.
front of the UN at 8 a.m. in this freezing weather. And mostly it's our friends from the women and gender constituency.
Yeah.
Like for 2 days I was there together with five other feminists who were holding up signs, saying free Palestine, and we're just there reading out the names of
Mm.
all of those children, women,
Mm.
who have been martyred, murdered by
Yeah.
this oppressive regime.
Yeah.
So we just stand there, and people who are coming inside the conference center, whenever they see us but could not join us for one reason or another, they just put their hands in their heart. And that's already, an expression that we are one with you. So I
Yeah.
think even if we go here very, very early in the morning, it's still worth it.
Mm.
Even if we're just five people, four people, it's still worth it because we need to be reminded always that these negotiations are happening while we are in the middle of a genocide.
Mm. And I think it is also important to say that we've been traveling a lot. Many things are happening. We don't think that this is the only solution to the current emergencies. But of course, these 2 weeks are very important in terms of possible outcomes for realities on the ground, right? So, for instance, civil society has been ramping up its demand on climate finance. Yesterday, there was a very amusing moment in which the civil society was protesting yesterday.
This is my little watermelon. Sorry, Amelia.
Yeah, there was a moment, right, in
Yeah.
which in the campment there were as we said, they're working in solidarity. So in the encampment, they were working on these art expressions. So there's a lot going on here, on making the connection between the inside and the outside.
Hmm. And what's interesting, you know, on the very first day of this SB session, almost 2 weeks ago, during the opening, two of our fierce feminist friends, comrades, bravely went up the stage, unfurled the Palestinian flag, and then there was another one holding up a sign that says no business as usual during genocide. And immediately, the security here um, went up the stage and tried to cover them up and their messages, and then they were escorted outside this UN building. Even the woman, the feminist again, who was filming the entire event, she was also escorted out, and the three of them got debadged. For what? For peacefully protesting
Hmm.
this genocide and reminding governments that all of these issues are interlinked. So I think there was a civil society push to have those the three of them reinstated with their badges, but they did not get a formal response from the UNFCCC executive secretary Simon Steele, who is German. But I think the response that they got is that they will remain debadged for the whole of this SB session,
Hmm.
but they could participate
Hmm.
again at COP.
Hmm. Yeah, we hope to see the civil society in full action in Baku. We need a strong expression of civil society with their political rights ensured. So definitely, it's something to be mindful, right? It's very important to see and to embrace the collectivity. No, in these dire moments. Yeah, I think we will be able to discuss more once the sessions are over, and we also have a full assessment of what is of all of the
Mm-hmm.
dimensions here. Um, and as I was saying, there's also this big expectation on climate finance as society scaled up their demands, and it was really interesting yesterday when there was an action outside. I was passing by and I stayed to watch, and then they were singing, and then someone alerted the the lead of the action that an important delegation was coming, and
Mm.
then and so I said, oh, someone very important is coming, so we should shout more loud that they need to pay their financial obligation. So that was really funny because it was the entire action outside with all of the slogans and the signs, and they were doing this with the finger, like calling them for pay up for climate finance. And that was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
You always find these moments of resistance, even though the dialogues here are very tense, very challenging. Yeah. So I don't know, Tete, if you want to tell us a bit about the processes you're following.
Well, I've been following these discussions on the new collective quantified goal on climate finance. I think we already talked about that several episodes ago, that for this year, there has to be a conclusion on all of these dialogues, no, that would come to an agreement that X amount is the new collective goal to mobilize for climate finance. So there's been a lot of discussions, but not we're not anywhere near the conclusion.
Yeah.
I think developing countries here have put up a number. They call it quantum, but it's really the number estimate what is the amount needed for climate finance. So, number one, it's tricky because climate finance as defined at the moment is only for mitigation and adaptation. So that's what we're trying to push for, that governments recognize that loss and damage is an important pillar and needs to be financed. So that is not yet resolved. Developing countries have put up 1.3 trillion US dollars every year, or 1.4 trillion dollars every year, as the amount needed for climate action. Developed countries have not put up any amount, but they've said a lot of things. Like how important it is for gender, human rights, indigenous people's rights to be put in the consideration for these quantum discussions. I mean, yeah, it's important, but don't let that distract you from what is needed,
Hmm.
the money. So they're talking about everything except the money, as always, no?
Hmm. The thing is that there were two proposals of draft this in this session, or several, but now the session is over. It concluded yesterday, and so we will see. The final session was actually public. All of
Mm-hmm,
these sessions
mm-hmm,
have been public. The observers have been able to attend, which is really positive, and there will be a new dialogue before maybe Baku. We are waiting for that, so we will let you know when what is the next episode of this discussion. And supposedly, yes, this new climate finance goal needs to be agreed in December this year. So there's a lot of work to be done
mm-hmm.
between here and December, and that's a bit worrisome because, as Tete was saying, many things are still not in the table in common floor. So yeah, that's challenge.
But I think we should also be telling everybody to be careful when you hear the rich countries say it's important to have gender, human rights, indigenous peoples, etc. It may sound good, it may sound like they're championing all of the other advocacies that are close to our heart, but it's their tactic to try and evade and avoid discussions and obligations that would compel them to put up the resources
Hmm.
needed by developing countries. All of these discussions, I'm hearing contributor base, recipients, etc., etc. So, but they even want to undermine the whole convention
Mhm.
itself. Because they're saying that discussions on climate finance should only be covered by the Paris Agreement, which does not really mention strongly the common but differentiated responsibilities. No? But
Hmm.
if you try to look back, the Paris Agreement is anchored on the convention. And therefore, CBDR should be a given already. No? It should not even be a conversation.
Yeah. So I'm here under an official capacity as well, so I cannot comment on
Yeah,
anything.
I'll
That's
do all
why
the talking.
I was inviting Tete to say all of these things after, but I'm fine that she's saying what she needs to say. I'm here facilitating the messages.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think we can brief you more on the outcomes. As I said, many things. We were very happy to see that there was an outcome on agriculture after so many disappointments and many times that the document was never closed. And yesterday, I had colleagues from the indigenous peoples groups and peasants. They were so happy. They were celebrating everywhere.
Mm.
They got a lot of the language that they were pushing for, and that is very positive in all of these contexts. And hopefully, their good luck and their good efforts translated into a positive outcome that can be shared a bit. And good luck in all of the other discussions that we're having. We have a gender and climate change item this year. We're discussing the Lima Work Program, and eventually we will get to also decide on the gender action plan. That is still in the air. We will have an
Mm.
informal later today, so it's everything is up in the air. Hopefully, we will be able to close the Lima Work Program here, but if not, then we will have to rush in Baku to work both on the Lima Work Program and the gender action plan. And we have also, I don't know, other issues, but maybe we can share about how this is going, but maybe also what is coming. We have after HLPF, I'll go to the Degrowth Conference in Pontevedra at the end of this week, no, the month. And then we also have an FFD conference that is coming at the end of July. after HLPF, and yeah, so it seems like
You rest in August because September you start traveling again for the UNGA Summit of the
I don't want to
Future.
be. I don't want to go.
Unfortunately, I will be there.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, Yesterday I met this the representative from Barbados, and I told him, "Oh, congratulations on the version 3.0 of the Bridgetown
Yeah,
Initiative."
what a
You remember the Bridgetown Initiative, no? This was the badass speech of Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, calling on governments and calling out rich governments for failing to deliver finance that is needed by countries already suffering the worst impacts. So the Bridgetown made a lot of proposals, some of them good, some of them not so, but it's already undergone three versions. The first version was um, quite it caused quite a ripple, no, in the whole community,
definitely.
because for the first time a small island developing state was um, putting forward a proposal that was progressive enough, no,
Mm.
because they said climate is affecting both development and climate plans of countries and communities, and she called for more money basically. So the bridge down was so good that the French hijacked it. You remember last year there was the Paris summit, no, on reforming the.
I mean, so good. It was. But anyway.
So anyway, the French hijacked it, and of course, nothing came out from that anymore. So now the Barbados government has a version 3, which is we have yet to study it in
Hmm.
detail, but I'm sure it has very good elements that would challenge the establishment. No,
Hmm. Yeah.
so yesterday I talked to Barbados, and I told them, "Wow, Barbados is back in the limelight after the French ambushed you." So I think they love me already for
Oh yeah.
that, because those are things they cannot say, but because it came from me, they can just nod their heads and agree. No,
Mm, yeah.
these diplomats.
I don't know. I think everybody wants to talk about the global financial architecture, and we are still insisting that the FFD space is the platform to do that. So that's there are really, and as Tete was saying in New York, there will be this discussion of the summit of the future, and in the middle, that's when we will have the FFD summit, the FFD conference, I'm sorry, the pre-conference, but also it's important to say that with the summit, there is a proposal with the Summit of the Future, one of the proposal is to really have these biennial meeting before the FFD conference of next year. So again, those are the powerful moves to shift the right decision from the UN to somewhere else. It's the
Hmm.
same with the Bridgetown Initiative and stuff. So yeah, we're very
And now after Bonn, the G7 meeting is happening in Italy.
yeah, there have yeah, it's a very good question. Thank you, Denise, for saying. Tell us, the audience, what are your plans this summer? We really want to know. What are you gonna be? Are we meeting? Are we seeing you?
Where
Well,
will you be protesting?
because remember, there's always the meeting, the IAFE meeting of the feminist economists in Rome at the beginning of July. So that's also a very important place in which the feminists are gonna be meeting
Mm.
and presenting their work. With so many things, what we need is really to have a stronger voice from the feminist movement. And also at the beginning of July, Mexico is hosting the meeting of the feminist foreign policy. Remember
Ooh.
last year, at the beginning of this year, I can't even remember. There was a meeting in The Hague. Was
Was
it
it?
The Hague?
I'm not sure.
Somewhere. And now this is the another meeting hosted in Mexico. So of course I'm gonna be in IAFE. I'm not gonna attend. I think that at the same time there are many meetings
Mm.
also for the feminist movement. Is a regional meeting for the regional conference. So many feminists are not gonna be in Mexico. Many Mexican feminists are not gonna be in Mexico. So I wonder how is that gonna be. We're not gonna be able to be good hosts, but I think yeah, we will share with you all of the gossip once we hear it from second hand. Sadly, because we won't be there.
Maybe we can invite somebody who will be there in
Yeah,
our next
yeah,
episode,
yeah.
no?
I
Yeah.
mean, yes and no. I don't know how much we care about the feminist foreign policy.
No, we can bash it.
I mean, as I said, I have a torn opinion. I think from for southern countries it's good. For the global north colleagues, global north countries, it's a way out of
Mm.
the many things that they're doing. So I have a a complex position.
I mean, I find it so hypocritical that northern
Yeah,
governments call it a feminist foreign policy while supporting a genocide, while, maintaining the status quo. How can you be feminist if none of those things are really addressed? Is it just a matter of having X number of women in cabinet positions,
mm,
etc.? All of those tokenistic box ticking exercises that people say makes them a feminist.
yeah. As I said, for the global south, it's a different thing. They are fighting many fights in different fronts. So I don't know. We can see if we have the patience and the heart to discuss those things. But yeah, I mean, this year is very busy. Also in August, Aphrodite is gonna host is AFCOT, which is its meaning on death and development, and this year is also gonna be about the feminist Pan African economic vision. So many of the amazing, powerful African feminists are going to be there. They're going to meet, they're going to present their views, exchange, and that's going to be a bigger topic, bigger dialogue with the activists of the region led by this vision. So
Mm.
I think it's going to be super inspiring as well. Take a look at that. It's going to happen in Mozambique in August. So there are many things that are happening. Of course, now we forgot there's the tax convention discussion that is going to happen for 3 weeks also in July. And yeah, in July after HLPF. It's 3 weeks of negotiations.
Wow, that's so intense.
They started to agree on the protocol, and that's where they're mixing the structure of the convention, some legal framings, and plus some principles that need to be agreed. And the first draft was just released last week or this week, and I haven't read it because I'm here. But civil society is very happy about the
Mm.
draft. They said that it's very ambitious. It includes most of the, at least the points of entry from which you can get a hook to expand on the things that we really care. So yeah, it's gonna be exhausting. It's gonna happen at the same time as the pre-conference in Addis. So some people on the economic justice movement is gonna have to split between New
Mm-hmm.
York and others in Addis. But yes, making the connection because of course tax justice is very important to the larger discussion on structural issues, but at the same time, it's really positive that there's a discussion on a tax convention in New York that can split from
Yeah.
the usual FFD framework where everything is lumped together. So yeah, it's very busy. Plus the Summit of the Future, which I'm not very enthusiastic about it. And we have people cheerleading on that. We'll see. I mean,
Yeah, it's a busy time, no?
busy
These are busy
time.
times. But it's quite surreal, no, that we're talking about revitalizing international cooperation,
Yeah.
strengthening multilateralism, and yet, we have the genocides, several, unfolding before our very eyes,
Yeah.
and it's like, wow, we're watching it live streamed. It's
Yes.
it's it's quite surreal, and it's really disturbing me, at the very the level of discomfort, that how can we sleep soundly at night and pretend that, no, not pretend, we just ignore it. It's like, okay, it's happening, and then we go about our daily routines.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're ignoring it. I think there's a lot of resistance happening
But for
everywhere.
the
But
most part, people are becoming desensitized, no? Do you think so?
I think the system generates that's it facilitates that. But despite that, there is a
Mm.
resistance happening, and it is our duty, yes, to keep it alive. Um, yeah. So I think we need to leave early today because that has another meeting to go. And yeah, so we barely had the time. Do you want to report back on loss and damage, or should we go back? We commit to try to be in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be with Shireen in
Ah.
Rome, so maybe we can invite her and do a distance call with you. You're not gonna be in Ayahi, but
No, no.
and Rina said also she couldn't attend today, but maybe we can try to be all of us together. Yeah, but let's do that. Sorry, and we are. It seems like we're not very energetic, but we really need to keep our voice down, so that we are not get kicked out of this room.
Because
But
right in front of us is a big plenary room.
the negotiation, I think, on the global colon adaptation. But thank you so much for joining. If you have some gossip, let us know. If you have some question, let us know. If you want us to tell you about something specific, let us know. We're everywhere, and if we are not, we have our social movements network who can
Mm-hmm.
tell us things. So we like the gossip. So we live for it. So yeah, thank you so much. Take
Ciao.
care.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Denise. Ciao.